Have you ever wondered why music sounds the way that it sounds? Why is it so repetitive? Where do these topics come from? Who is singing to us? And why have these people been hand selected, chosen to sing to us? Well, the answer is simple, my friends. There are chosen people that have been selected to shape the way that we perceive, receive, and hear music. So join me today as we go down the rabbit hole of what music looks like. All right, and how did we get here today? Because somewhere along the way, we've opened a door to the demonic realm. And on this channel, you will learn how to close it. So let's get started. Welcome to Closing Doors to the Demonic Realm. Clive Davis was born on April 4th, 1932. And if you, my friend, have been paying attention to the news, then you know that he just passed on June 22nd of this year. You might be asking yourself, what does that have to do with me? Well, I'm here today to make sure that you're fully aware of how Clive Davis and many others have shaped the way that we receive music. You see, Clive Davis is not just your typical schmo Joe, but Clive Davis was a lawyer. Okay, he graduated from Harvard. And one might think, how did he become one of the hugest music executives, a music mogul, a music producer, a music founder, a music CEO? How? Well, my friends, it's time to get into it. You see, Clive Davis, like I said, graduated from Harvard, all right, with a law degree. And he worked at a law firm whose client was CBS. Yes, CBS, which was the parent company to Columbia Records. So a partner of the firm left and they hired Clive to be an assistant counsel for Columbia Records. And would you know that Clive basically got a higher position because Goddard Lieberson, the president of Columbia Records, took Clive under his wings to teach him the music business. We'd like to call it the basics, all right, about the music business. And Goddard went to work at CBS in 1967, and he named Clive the new president of Columbia Records. All right, so when that happened, Clive basically went from handling the legal and business affairs as a assistant counsel to becoming, yes, the president of Columbia Records. All right, so that in itself should make you think, how is it that Clive Davis is given the opportunity to shape the way that the world receives music, the way that artists are able to express themselves? How is Clive Davis given this prominent position when he is just a lawyer? Okay, so let's continue. So from 1967 to 1973, yes, from 1967 to 1973, Clive signed most of your most prominent names, I mean in rock, pop, blues, to Columbia Records, such as Bruce Springsteen, Billy Joel, where, he sang Uptown Girl. All right, we have Aerosmith, Janis Joplin, Piece of My Heart, that's a huge hit, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. So these are not little names, but these are huge names that he signed to Columbia Records. Well, I want to talk to you about other people that have also been shaping the way that we receive music, and they've also been transforming the way that we consume and discover sound. So we had Berry Gordy, all right, who is over Motown Records. He gave us artists like Diana Ross. He gave us Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, and Smokey Robinson. We have David Geffen, all right, who was a powerhouse, all right, who founded Asylum Geffen and co-founded DreamWorks SKG. All right, so we got a couple of people from him, like we'll just say one, Guns N' Roses. All right, we have Jimmy Iovine, co-founder of Interscope Records and Beats Electronics. All right, he gave us a lot of musicians. All right, we had Eminem, we had Dr. Dre, we had Lady Gaga, we can't forget Madonna. All right, we have Ahmet Ertegun, who was the co-founder of Atlantic Records, and he was a foundational figure who helped to define soul and R&B and rock, and he gave us the Rolling Stones, all right, and many others. But we're going to also talk about Sir Lucian Grange, all right, who was the chairman and CEO of Universal Music Group. All right, Universal Music Group is still big today. He gave us just literally everybody that you can think of. I'm just going to give you one, Mr. Kendrick. All right, we've talked about Mr. Kendrick, and yes, he is with Universal Music Group. We also had Clarence Avant, all right, who they often refer to him as the godfather of Black music. And he founded Venture Records and Sussex Records. And he was able to give us a good amount of artists as well. So you see, these people that I've just named, in addition to Clive Davis, have been given the power to discover talent, to shape talent, and to produce talent to the world, all right, which really shapes the way that we see the world, all right, because music is extremely powerful. So what happened with Columbia Records? Well, you see, Sony purchased Columbia Records in 1988 from CBS, and Sony later on acquired Arista Records when Sony Music Entertainment, also known as SME, merged with BMG in 2004. They briefly deactivated in 2011, and Sony relaunched Arista in July 2018 as a standalone center. And because Arista was owned by BMG, all right, well, actually, let's talk about this. You might be asking yourself, who is that? A German media conglomerate, all right? And they own a majority of the stakes before purchasing full ownership in 1999. So you see, Arista went under significant executive restructuring, all right, by Arista. Because Arista was founded by BMG, all right? So when this happened, Arista Records, we could see that we had a lot of powerhouses that came from this new label. We had Whitney Houston, all right? Whitney was signed in 1983, which was the start of her career. In 1985, on February 14th, she gave us her debut album, which was titled Whitney Houston. All right, we got songs like Saving All My Love, For You, and we got How Will I Know? And what happened, we also got, before I go a little further,